Bidi, life. The Four Living Ones. June 28, 2019. Tarifa and Andalucia interviews. Well, Bidi is with you and he greets you. Well, we'll play together to answer your questions. I'm listening to you. Voice. Children are naturally happy and loving. Is it appropriate to follow their example? It's more than indicated. There is the way of childhood, the way of spontaneity. You are not true if you are not totally spontaneous, even if spontaneity can sometimes overwhelm you, through words, expressions, postures, it doesn't matter at all. The more spontaneous you are, like a child who does not think about tomorrow, who is inserted in the present instant, the more true and truthful you are, and the more you live agape, and the more free you are. But if you start by thinking, if you start with a posture linked to conventions, moral, social, emotional, relational, you are not true. Indeed, being like a child, becoming a child again, is the natural state. A newborn child, even in this world, is not locked up. It is education, conditioning, predation that closes it off. To return as a child is to resurrect. Christ, your Christ told you so. Understand this well, the more spontaneous you are, the more honest you are, the more you are in the present instant, and the more you will discover the truth. You can't look for it, you can only welcome it, it's there. It's zero time, it's agape, it's joy. Remember, what you stick to is what you value. Second important thing in this path of childhood, and especially now, what has to happen will happen, no matter what you do. What must not happen will not happen, no matter what you do. Accept this, and the major key to being free of your character, your history, all the conditions, accept freedom, and you are free of any belief, any contingency, any rule, such is the child. The path of childhood is the direct path. Not only the way of innocence or Teresa's little voice, but it is today what is most likely to make you live the intelligence of light. Be true, be spontaneous and you will live the truth in its entirety. Forget if I can say your education, moral, social, emotional conventions. Be true, spontaneous and you will be inscribed in the present instant, where the truth is, and not in tomorrow and not in your memories, and not in your knowledge. Love is free of all knowledge. Love is free from any search. Love is there for all. That's who you are, without exception, that's who we all are. Remember the steps. There have been some in each other, the creation is in you, you're the creation, you're the dream, you're the dreamer, but you are also the one who must wake up from the dream. There is no more direct path today than the path of childhood. It is the simplest way, because it naturally places you in the zero time of the present instant, where nothing from the past, or from tomorrow, or from the next instant can disturb you. The key is there, nowhere else. So yes, what has been called the way of childhood, so well expressed by some stars, and in particular Teresa, is the only possibility today. That is what we have repeated, both of us, Eba, OMA recently and myself. It is now time to let go of everything you care about, your vibrations, your energies, your feelings, your visions. Settle down in innocence, in the present moment, it contains the truth, it is nowhere else. Everything else just clutters your head, body, thoughts, mind, emotion. Save your mind for the activities of this world, but do not mix this mind with what is to be lived, which is there for everyone. As has been said, there are no prerequisites, there is no necessity or precondition. The truth is the same for everyone, because there is no one, and we are all in each other, without exception, whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, whether we fear it or not. It is by accepting this that you will love and serve, it is by accepting this that you become a child again and become natural. It is not for nothing that this has been called the natural state, the eternal I or the absolute I. It is happening here, on earth, not tomorrow, in your identity, in your last and first name, regardless of any history. Again, check it out for yourself. But abandon all the defensive postures, all the understanding postures, because all these postures belong to the character, to the story, but not to the truth that you are. You have no support in your story, in your character, in your external knowledge of any kind, to live the truth. The only support from now on is zero time, the present instant, the heart of the heart. You call it what you want, whatever you feel or not, does not change anything. It is much easier today, in the path of childhood, to live the truth, than through vibrations, feelings or external knowledge, whatever they may be. You all have the same possibility, we all have the same capacity, we all carry zero time without exception. I said at the time when I was incarnate, that my words could not fail. You have proof today, you're countless, more and more people are living it. If you don't live it yet, be silent, don't ask yourself questions about what I have to give up, what I haven't understood, you can't understand it, you can't analyze it, you can't prepare it, you can only live it. The natural state is for everyone. For the meanest of the bad boys, as OMA would say, as for the holiest of saints, there is no difference, since it is a dream. And remember, to the extent that you judge, you will be judged. And to the extent that you judge yourself, or appreciate yourself, you will also be confronted with that. You have nothing to do, just let go, just abandon yourself to what you are, what you don't know, and you will know it by living it. It's instantaneous. We have said it over and over again, you don't need anything, you don't need anyone, you need to be authentic, to be true, to be spontaneous. It's the way of childhood, indeed, the way of innocence. The one who is not disturbed like the child by the vicissitudes of this world, by the games of adults, by predation, by money, or by anything in this world. But if you want to rely on this world to find freedom, you will not live it. You cannot find it, you can only accept it and welcome it, and verify it by yourself, by your lived experience. One more question. Voice. It is a sister who is that who says, I wanted to witness a great joy that has invaded my heart since the presence of AYOUN. Ah, well, that's great, and so what do I do? Laughs. So do I know, but I'm kidding, I'm listening. There's just these words, where you need to develop. We must develop, not for you, but for those who listen, because when you listen to the words of agape, of your joy, you're active through the testimony, even if the other does not understand or resist, he can only be shattered by the truth, it makes its way inside. So, are there any other words to say, or is it just these words? It's like absolute recognition, it's so sweet. It's divine. And this joy, even if it does fluctuate, as long as it stabilizes, can never be forgotten. It only takes a minute to recognize itself. And if you haven't recognized yourself yet, it's because you're the ones who put distance. I am not telling you this so that you will feel guilty, but so that you will accept and verify my assertions and words for yourself. Are there any other words about this testimony? No, there are no other words. It could have been said orally, it is more promising, for the person who lives it, to express it orally, in this case, the testimonies, because you will hit the other person. Voice. Can our sister come and testify? Of course, with great pleasure, so that I can be silent, we're listening to you. Sister. It is such a great joy, and at the same time, now that I am here, an emotion that is rising, but the joy was so invasive, so full, and filled each of my cells. It's so strong, and now it's just an emotion. And what happens when you're in the joy? You want to take all the brothers and sisters in your arms, you want to kiss the trees, the flowers, everything, don't you? Yes, absolutely, yes. It puts the person's problems into perspective, doesn't it? Yes. That's how we forget ourselves as a person and live the truth. And we feel that it comes back, the person comes back, and then it, but deep down, in fact there is this absolute recognition that is very present, and we know that this is the truth, it is the only truth, it is the purest truth. And you know, I always said, the person she'll be there until the last minute. Simply when you are covered by the truth you are living, the person can only disappear, you don't even have to look at him, he oscillates, or he is spontaneous when there are emotions or things that upset you, don't retain anything, that's how you persist, and you live the persistence of that joy. It becomes immutable. And in a very short time now, for those who have begun to live this joy, or who have been living it for longer, you will see very quickly that there is no longer any space for the person, even if they are there until the last moment, collective. Where you put your attention, will reinforce. If you look at yourself, because you are living naked joy and the character returns with his sufferings, his worlds, his questions, do not give him any importance to this joker. It's not you. It's not you. What is you is joy, and you can also confirm that you can only recognize yourself in this joy, yes or no? Yes, I totally recognize myself. It's evident. That's the only truth. It's bigger than anything, it's stronger. Creation itself is a scam, like consciousness, which is a disease. You're free from all eternity, you had simply forgotten it, and I was the first to remind you of it when I was incarnate. My words cannot fail, you have proof today, but not only my words, but even the pedagogy put in place by those who were organizations like the Melchisedeks, today bring you the same word as Bidi. You can see that our dear commander is not the same, he has also changed, and if you have other speakers, you can only see it with the same evidence. A more concise, more refined, simpler language, which does not need to be cluttered with references in traditions, energies, systems, is the spontaneity of the present instant. That's zero time, that's joy, nothing else. Do you have anything else to add? No, thank you. Thank you to you. If you have other testimonies, it is very important, because you cause a resonance of zero time in the brothers and sisters who are listening, whether they agree or not, it penetrates and works. We can continue. Voice. That's a question. Let's listen. When my daily life resumes at work, at home, I still feel very angry about certain situations. So I try to cross over, but it's very hard to get there. Why? Why? Because we must let joy work. When it comes to crossing, to embracing, there is still an ocean of movement. Today, instead, try to remain calm, be patient, be gentle with yourself, even with your own angers of your character, and you will live that you are not those angers, and there will no longer be any possible identification, no matter what the day, no matter what the job, and no matter how much trouble or hassle. It's as simple as that. Indeed, emotions, anger for those who live joy in everyday life can sometimes become outright in the form of suffering. But it is the game of the intelligence of light, it is the fusion of the simulacrum and the sacred. Let the chemistry unfold, do not be alarmed when the character returns, because if you have lit the joy, as I said, even for a minute, it is one. Let what needs to be done happen. And even if you're affected in your body, in your anger, in your emotions, don't give them the slightest weight by wanting to seek a technique to get rid of them. Think at that moment of the joy you were living a few moments before. It won't take you back to the past, it won't divert you to the past moment, but it will reactivate joy, rather than think about your emotions, anger, or sadness. Experience it there too. You can only see that the intelligence of the light that you are, awaits only that to fill you with grace, even in the most terrible troubles. At that moment, you will live in superimposition, if I can say both states at the same time, the character who struggles in an emotion, in anger or otherwise, and the joy that is there. Joy can only win, but of course, the strategies of society, the strategies of your story, of your little character who thinks he is important, can only be swept away the moment you think about the joy you have lived, or want to live. Rather than giving weight by putting your conscience or your question on the difficulty, put it on love, and that's all. All the techniques called personal, energetic or comprehension techniques will be doomed to failure. There is only joy and love, everything else will appear to you as suffering without exception. The freedom will be such that you will no longer be able to cope with the circumstances of your lives. That makes sense. Everything is done in character and in society to bring you back to this world. You have to win paradise, you have to improve your karma, you have to understand things, you have to explain them, you have to treat them, but that's all bullshit today, it's a total weight. Love has no weight, no constraint, it is inner and outer freedom. But this is normal, since you become aware when you live the joy that you come out of the nightmare. And of course, the nightmare is still there before your eyes, in the activities, to go to work, to take care of children, parents, to write checks, to meet legal, moral, emotional obligations, etc., but soon you will no longer be able to, as I have already said, and it is now. It is up to you to choose, love or suffering, there is no other choice. Moreover, you have no choice, it is the illusion of choice, since the collective moment will put an end to this whole notion of hesitation, of choice or uncertainty. What do you value? To joy, whether you have lived it or not, or to something in this world. This does not mean that you have to leave this world or leave your wife and children, quite the contrary, but it is precisely in the circumstances of your life that life hatches. Experience it. Again, don't believe me, but you will have the same ability to live it and experience it, no matter what you think. other question, or other testimony. Sister, it is a moment when we speak that there is a great joy, that there is something going on. So, for me, it was a lot of tears rather. I cried a lot, and then it's true that there were laughter also, a little mixed, but more tears than laughter. So, what is it? Crying leads you to joy. Crying is like crying when you find someone, when you have lost sight of them, or when you think you have lost them. You find yourself. It's not crying of suffering, it's crying that you can't explain. Besides, you ask, what is it? It is the crying that leads you to the recognition of yourself, in the eternal and absolute I, in the natural state. Indeed, it is an inner upheaval, it is the end of illusions, the end of suffering, the end of questioning, the end of everything that obstructed the truth. So don't be alarmed by these cries and joys at times. Tears are as much a part of love as taking someone in your arms, opening your arms. Tears, beyond tears of sadness, because these are not tears, they are tears that cannot be explained. It is a recognition, at last, says your unconscious, and tells you the intelligence of light. That's why the throat chakra is extremely stressed at the moment. You remember all the years past for those who already knew at the time, the different passages through the gorge, already in the year 2010, before arrived, responsible for a number of things in terms of the correspondences of this chakra. Already, at Christmas 2010, the first passage of the gorge, made by the Archangel Uriel. Today it is the same thing, except that the passage, you do it in complete autonomy and freedom. So the boat, the whales, the dancing, the singing, the ballads, as you do, all share the same evidence and have the same function. Ever told you, everything is only a pretext for joy. All you have to do is to take care of yourself, to commune, whether on a boat, between brothers and sisters, here, or on a walk. Don't worry about the rest, everything else is done naturally, really, and if it's not done, it's because you're not natural enough, that's all, not yet. But no one can escape it, so don't have any bad ideas in mind, don't feel frustrated or guilty about anything, because I assure you that everything is exactly where it belongs, it can't be otherwise. Remember, it's a theater scene, you get out of the theater, you've been the actor, the spectator, and now you get out of the theater, you see that there's never been a theater, or a video game, if you prefer, as Eppa says, it's the same thing. Tears are part of joy, especially when they have no cause. It is your waters from above that flow to the waters from below, it is the fusion of the waters from above and the waters from below. So I will not repeat Ebba's sentences in Hebrew that correspond to that, it is the waters of the mystery, which enter the manifestation, the mame as he says. I said it when I was incarnate, that the biggest and most vast scam is spirituality, because it takes you away from the natural state, but before that there was no other way. Today yes, more than ever, be true, be frank and spontaneous, turn all your energy, all your lucidity on this love that you may not yet live, but that you will live. No one can escape from what it is, no energy can oppose it, no conscience can escape it, and no world can ignore what it is living. Don't worry about your families, your children, your parents, all this belongs to the illusion, to the dream that passes. You will never pass, in that you are in truth, before form and any consciousness. You have a sister who came to testify, you have had countless testimonies, countless confirmations. As I said, the first step is to be nothing. The second step is to be everything. And the last step is to see that all this doesn't exist, it just passed. You have no other option or choice. Besides, you have no choice. It is the person who believes he or she has a choice, it is in line with the notion of free will. There are two laws in the universe, as has been said since the heavenly wedding, before came. Reaction action and grace action. Today, grace is for everyone, your grace, in action and in truth. Anything else? Sister, so this is a question, let's say, half witness and half question. For years, I have been looking for absolutely nothing, I expect nothing, I hope nothing, I fear nothing. Slow down. Slow down. All right. Shall I do it again? No, it's okay. Laughs. On the other hand, I was very perplexed when, about 2 years ago, the Buddha's teaching technique came to me, I mean, original. and I found it very pure, sober, true, a great resonance in me, and it turns out that now, we can say, I practice it, at last, and what is interesting is the side of service, the word service of people, I love it, finally, I have an impulse towards that, and it also allows me to take care of it, and that's it. But today what will serve you the most is your joy, regardless of any teaching, and you were all seeing it when you had energetic, psychological, therapeutic or other activities, no matter what you have received or learned, it is no longer that which is essential, it is to be in the truth, it is the truth that acts, it is no longer you. Yes, but precisely, I feel this truth. But yes. But it doesn't want, I don't think there's any possibility that it might take me away from the truth, because it's so strong, so pure, but it seems a little contradictory to everything you, well, all of you. It was valid 2 years ago, now it is no longer valid. But I can still go on to have fun. Yes, but it will be different, because it is the joy of zero time that will manifest itself. It's the same for a therapist who thought he was making a diagnosis. He'll find that his hands move by themselves. He doesn't understand anything anymore, but he knows it's the truth. This is how you release all the teachings, even the purest ones, and you are autonomous. Thank you. Be creative, be true, no longer take into account the teachings received, no longer take into account what has happened. The more you accept this, the more joy you will live. This does not prevent you from using, as you say, a teaching or a technique, but they will be profoundly transformed, and will indeed be replaced by direct and inner knowledge. Moreover, many of you receive information, if I may say so, since we're in each other, it is quite normal to feel that the other has pain in one place, or to feel the mood of the other, but the mood of the other is also yours, in another space-time. So once all this is lived, assimilated, you'll see that it will disappear. It is not a deprivation, it is even greater freedom. You have the same thing in the peoples of nature. You know full well that every evening at 8 p.m. here, and 9 p.m. in Quebec, countless brothers and sisters welcome us, until they understand that I am them and that I am in them. But it inevitably leads to joy, freedom, truth. Do we have an agreement? Yes. Thank you. You'll see that you can no longer disagree, even if you have diametrically opposed points of view, you can only laugh at these diametrically opposed opinions, they only concern a person. In love, everything is simple, everything is evident, everything is easy, even what is hard. Everything can only go well, no matter how chaotic the world or your life may be. Let's keep going. Brother. Is it desirable in relationships, in interactions, in communications, if we are not yet well established in the agape, to voluntarily seek to place ourselves in our hearts, and to seek to be in connection with the hearts of others, to go beyond the person, or persons? I'll answer you, who wants to do that if it's not the person? It's diametrically opposed, if I can say, to the path of childhood. All these are games that you have played with ever since last year that have brought you closer to this ultimate, even the absorption of essences, the perpetual bars of love, the agape or network resonances, led to one single thing, the fire of the sacred heart, the burning of the dream, of your body, and the joy of freedom. Everything else is a personal action that is necessary, of course, in this world, but not in relation to the truth. It only delays things. Love is the natural state, you cannot seek it, and moreover even in the techniques that Eba has given you, he spoke well of technique without technique, which is addressed to the body, but not to the head, nor to the person. It addresses the body structure, it makes all the difference. It is not about visions, energies, vibrations, chakra openings or gate and star openings, but it is about passing information from 3 and 1 and from 1 to 0, not mechanics. There is never any question of mobilizing emotions, moods or visions. It's not for nothing. You know this, even if you are not yet living it, but many of you are living it, that everything is written. Nothing can escape the truth. There are only postures of the person, linked to habits, to the need to develop techniques, means, but the only true means is yourself, not as a person, but as this body of flesh, this bag of meat as I named it, or this sacred temple. It makes no difference, it happens in you, it is written in your cells, in your structures. Keep it simple, don't look for noon to 2 p.m., or anywhere but the heart. You can't place yourself in your heart today, it would still be a personal intention. That is why Eber spoke of welcoming and crossing, of resurrection or sacrifice, and I believe that OMA spoke to you about silence, the great silence, because when you make silence, you are no longer turned outwards, you put an end to what is seen outwards or said outwards, and you leave all the space, in the heart of the heart, to the truth. So yes, there are techniques, right up to the last moment. Look for example at the crystals. Yes, you can use crystals, but try to avoid as much as possible using techniques that involve personal will, or personal intention. It is the same principle for network resonance agape, for sacred heart fires, have no other intention, but you will see the results, even on diseases. But don't delay or distort things by using that and saying it will heal. It is the truth that heals, it is not you, it is the intelligence of light, it is what you really are, and not in this person. And yet it is expressed through this person. Consciousness is a projection in every sense of the word. Even the supra-consciousness, even the I am must be ignored, and this is true for everyone. Be honest and you are free, be true and spontaneous, and you are in joy. Everything else is just conditioning, injunctions related to your character that you are not. You are much more likely to live the truth, by being totally inserted into the present moment, whether on a boat, on a walk or in your nights, than by reflecting. Listen to the testimonies, resonate with what is lived. You can only live the same thing, whatever your head tells you, whatever your feeling tells you, whatever your perceptions, your visions tell you. Love does not need all this, it is naked. The cetacean people have done a remarkable job, in terms of your awakening, in terms of freedom. We can continue. Voice. We have a question. Yes. What is the difference between agape resonance, fire of the sacred heart and light? Thank you. Agape resonance prepares the zero time. It is the rhythm of the breathing of the heart, which is accompanied by the deployment of the double terrace, through the chakra of the heart of the new tri-unity, the Marian channel, in the same alchemy, which leads to a rhythm at 3 times at the level of the heart. It is the agape resonance that makes zero time available between 2 brothers. Network agape resonance network, it's simply when you are more than 2. The fire of the sacred heart is the result of the practice of agape resonance and agape resonance network. It is the moment when your heart of eternity, the diamond made up of 24 triangles, called the tetractes hexadron, enters into emanation, right here in this world, in illusion, for awakening. After the fire of the sacred heart, or even without having lit the fire of the sacred heart, the phenomenon of the white paradise unfolds, the information of zero time at the atomic, cellular level and in all the structures of consciousness. That's what you're going through right now. So there is, yes, a progression between agape resonance network, fire of the sacred heart, is nothing more than the re-ray of the unknown into the known, which allows you to live it through the simulacra of the dream of your body and your consciousness here on this very earth, on a collective level, which does not derive from any merit or evolution, but from the restitution of the truth. Did I answer or was there something else? Yes, the difference also with light. Oh yes, the light. Light is not what you can see with your eyes. Light is, above all, intelligence, moreover it is called the intelligence of light. This is what made the dream possible. If you want references, in other traditions, I called it the Para-Brahman by, not opposition, but by complementarity to the Brahman, to the created God if you prefer. But you have in the architecture of what I believe you call the Zephyrid tree, Bina, which is linked to the creative intelligence that is represented by the spiral nebula. It is the reservoir of the dream, it is the black light, and I didn't mention a shadow, which scares some people so much when I came in 2012, who ran away, because they used to see the shape of an archangel or the commander, and I was coming, there was no more light. And yet when there is no more light, it does not mean that there is shadow, precisely because there is no more light. Light is not what you can see, even subtly, here in this world, even if you see entities, whatever they may be. Light has no form, and yet it inhabits all forms. Light is the first manifestation of the Absolute, and you know that this light has been falsified, was itself the bearer of whatever called the primary anomaly, and which made it possible to put an end to the fraud of consciousness. There is only you, all the others are you, without exception. We are all in the same dream. As you know, those who live agape can no longer be deceived by spirituality, by visions, by anything. This is the natural state, This is becoming human again, through your ephemeral identity of the simulacrum, and this is what is of a very particular humor. It is precisely within the simulacrum, the meat bag as I called it at the time, that the sacred is found. But there is no more sacred than simulacra. As soon as the sacred and the simulacra are unmasked and experienced, there is only a gape. To be in the light is to live the self. The commander insisted that it was spiritual pride. It is the truth. It was all the pseudo-masters who took themselves for who knows what, who created teachings, and even the elders. It was all those who had the impression or the idea that there was still time. They didn't come out of space-time, the Melchizedecs, anyway, until now. Now they're out. They were a linear, evolutionary perspective, because there was no way to do otherwise, but it had to be prepared, since everything was written. It was necessary to understand it, to live it, to accept it, not only for you still incarnated on earth, but for all the planes of creation. You have the keys, not for you, you have the keys to the truth for all worlds, through this bag of meat as I called it. And light is the radiance of the fire of the Sacred Heart, which emanates from these 24 triangles of the tetractahedron, in 24 rays of light, which puts an end to the dream of individuality, to the myth of creation, to the disease of consciousness and to the fraud of spirituality. You become like a child again. The last key has been given to you. It is your paternal birth name and your official first name. It is your verb, the verb that triggers your awakening. You still have countless brothers and sisters who have not dared to pronounce their names, because unconsciously, their conscience knows that it signs its death sentence, the end of the disease. The evolution is part of what you call the Luciferian forces. You were perfect at all times. You just forgot it. You already have to accept it intellectually, emotionally, to live it. What prevents you from accepting that you are definitely free and that you have always been? Your conscience, your good conscience, your spiritual conscience, yourself, which is nothing but the spiritual ego, to believe that you are luminous, here in this world. All this is being unmasked, totally exposed. As I said, I repeat, the search for the truth, the discovery of the truth, will put an end to your world and like everyone else. The truth is not from any world, the truth is before the light, black or white, and what you are living now, for those who are living this joy, it is the truth. Everything else seems so superfluous, so useless, so cumbersome, and you are, as we told you a short time ago, many enough to live it now, and it has been confirmed by citations. The time has come. Do not be alarmed by anything. Everything is written, everything is perfect, everything will be perfect, whatever you think of it even today. Until you live the truth, you can never be sure. Now as the truth is for all, during the collective moment, I will tell you at the limit, live what pleases you, and you will become lighter and lighter, no matter how heavy your life, your body, or your troubles may be. It's simple, it's easy to check, it doesn't require practice, it doesn't require alignment, it doesn't require energy, it doesn't require vibration or feeling, it's an inner, honest and real acceptance that creates it, that reveals it. No practice can lead you there, nor can any questioning. Do you realize, love is there, in the middle of your heart, and you continue to seek it for some in external knowledge, or in feelings or visions? It is pathetic. No one can be reborn again unless he becomes like a child again. I didn't say so. It is the truth today, it is the only truth. As long as you are serious, as long as you follow rules, learnings, today it is a waste of time. I wouldn't have told you that 3 years ago, or in 2012, but today is enough. All the brothers and sisters who live it tell you that time zero, joy is there. You have no effort to make, no effort to understand, just to live it, just to accept it, really, and that's it. It's so simple. What are you looking for elsewhere? What do you want to defend, as a point of view? What more do you want to acquire in this world, in relation to the truth? What do you want to demonstrate? What are you looking for? Ask yourself these essential questions today, and never forget that the answer, the one and only one, is love, and love is never an effort, never a practice, never a vibration, never an energy, never a feeling, it is a state beyond any state. It is the moment when you are immobile in the great silence, in the great joy, in the great evidence, when your tears will flow, when you live, because you feel it is transformed, that it is different, that it is new, and yet you know it, when you live it, that it can only be that and nothing else. Any of them joke? It was a joke. Let's keep going. Voices. About 2 years ago, you had a student exercise calling you. Yes. Can we still do it today? No need, I come every night at 11 o'clock. Calling me is already considered as an outsider. Of course, you can always do it, but it's easier to realize that I'm here. Affirms. Bidi is there, it's no longer a call, it's an observation, and it's there. But of course, you can call Eba, and some of them do not hesitate to do so. They think of me, they think of Eba, they think of OMA, they are healed, they are transformed, they are in joy, they are in tears. Yet neither one of us has done anything. You simply recognized yourself and you recognized us in yourself. Today, even the notion of calling no longer makes sense. Because if you call, you consider that there is a distance, necessarily. Affirms. Bidi is here and I am here. Ask Bidi, actually, you ask yourself, and the miracle is there. It is like people who ask Eba for care, they write a request, they have not finished writing it that they fall into tears, and Eba he has done nothing. He is simply present in everyone, he is everyone, as I am everyone. That's how you put an end to the myth of the person, the myth of individuality, the myth of consciousness, no other way. So you're indeed invited to change things a little bit. When you call, you necessarily consider, your consciousness necessarily considers that it is the outside, when it is already present. Ask if you want to ask Bidi who's inside you, but the request is not a call. These are not words like that, they reflect a different reality. All creation is there and everything is manifest since the unknown becomes known, through the radiance of the fire of the sacred heart of the heart of the heart, of the heart of eternity. That's how you realize that everything is you, and that there's nothing personal about it, that it's universal. The light can no longer be diverted, everything has been written and everything has been revealed. As Eba tells you, as the commander tells you, and as I tell you, we are only accompanying what you are living naturally, not to teach anything from now on. As I have already told you, there is no longer any need to go to refute anything as in 2012, since you are the whole, as well as the person you are, as the enemy, as the friend, as the brother, as the sister, as the child, as the parent. Accept it, even if it doesn't seem true to you, it's not a belief because it's immediately followed by effect. It's simple, though. The real is unreal, the unreal is the real. The real is the absolute and nothing else, it will never pass. It is up to you to choose, but I reassure you, you have no choice, and as long as you believe you are choosing, you are not free. The choice belongs to the action-reaction, love is grace. One other thing. Voice. There is a follow-up to this question. Let's go. In the evening, at 23 p.m., okay. But I don't feel you all the time. Why? Why? Should we lie down, be quiet or otherwise? You don't have to feel me, it's all over now. You have brothers and sisters here who don't feel anything, not even a gape, and yet they will necessarily live it. Time zero cannot fail. As soon as you touch someone, take them in your arms, look at them, when you live a gape, even and especially if they feel nothing, they will live it. It is imperative, it is mandatory and it is inexorable. Don't worry about your feelings anymore. Just because you don't feel me doesn't mean I'm not there, because I've always been there. So of course, the feeling has helped you for decades to, in a way, guide you towards the truth, to prepare you for the truth. Zero time is not a feeling, joy is not a feeling, it is a lived experience. Do not confuse feelings with lived experience. The feeling is only an interface, it is linked to the etheric body. You felt the stars, the gates, the paths, the crowns, the kundalini, the ether channel, the wave of life, but all that was just an interface, leading you to the naked truth, where there is no more form, where there are no more people, where there is no more dimension, where there is no more nothing, and yet there is everything. So just because you don't feel me, doesn't mean zero time isn't active. You see, for example, when you do network resonance agape, fire, tremor, what happens? You see the changes in your physiological rhythms. And Eba said it, from the moment you are, with him or with me or with anyone awake here, you can only live it, even if, especially if you feel nothing, it will fall on you. It cannot fail, and I would even say that it is those who feel nothing, who will be rewarded, perhaps not in the present moment, but at the end of this meeting, or any meeting, whether with cetaceans, with nature, with the peoples of nature, with trees, with water, with our words, your silences, your attentions, the fact of greeting you, of taking you in arms. That's what's active. So even if you don't feel me, every night, once I'm in you, I don't need the interfacing, the feeling, but I'm actually available, and not just at 23 hours. Don't forget that there is ultra-temporality. It's the same forever. You're countless, there too, simply today, you have brothers and sisters who think of Bidi, they are in joy, they feel nothing except that they live joy. They think of ever, and they are in joy or they're healed, and ever or Bidi, we have done nothing, except to be present in you and to reveal ourselves in this. So, if we are present in you, and if we enter into manifestation, it is no longer feeling, it is what is called the fire of the sacred heart, which is translated into fire, which is no longer vital, nor vibrational fire, but which has been called the igneous fire. Burning of the extremities, heat in the body or in the heart, generalized tremor, the soul, evidence of the truth, and agape. Of course, the feeling was fundamental to open you up, to prepare you for the truth, but the feeling is not the truth. You can feel everything, you can see all the angels and archangels, you can speak all the languages, you can know all the mysteries of all the universes and all the creation and the dream. If you miss agape, it is useless. And I would say that with the intensity of the igneous fire, those who have no feelings, are rather privileged, even if they say today that they suffer from not feeling anything, from agape, because necessarily, what I have called the resistances between the ego, the person and the truth, will consume all this. It is inevitable. It is the same in the meetings, in the network resonance agape that you do among yourselves, in the groups, everywhere. The important thing, you know it, is this unspeakable love. Even when it is not fixed, you know that it is the truth when you have lived it. You cannot seek anything else. You can no longer seek anything. The truth is revealed. It is lived, even if it is not constant. And as soon as you experienced it once, it was said by Ada and explained at length, you're the vector of zero time, you're a catalyst. You don't act, you don't want anything, you don't ask for anything, you are natural, and the other person can only be contaminated, or if you prefer, recognize yourself, it's a resonance. Then. Voice. Our sister continues on the same path. It's too good that you come to see us at night, but why? To resonate. To make you understand and live that I am in you, to bring you zero time, to reveal it, it is already there, because it is necessarily consciousness, even which is a disease, that will translate it since you are incarnate. Now, I remind you, as Ebba has shown, that everything is written, and that nothing can escape the truth, because to get out of the dream, it must concern the whole dream of creation, and not just a few individuals, not just your enclosed dimension, but the whole creation, the whole dream. I believe that Commander has told you, zero-time information, as he called it the good news, I believe, is present in all universes and dimensions. Keep going. Voice. I wanted to testify that when I listen to you, it is as if, little by little, there were my cells starting to space from each other, and it becomes white, and if I don't hold back, I leave in a white cloud. Yes, it is the dissolution of the dream, the end of the myth of creation, the end of the scam of spirituality, and the end of the disease of consciousness. I have repeated this 1,000 times. That's it, that's it. So it's time zero. Is that time zero? Yes, it is what puts an end to the form, it is what puts an end to the dream, it is what unveils agape in its entirety, your natural state and the bliss and happiness, which do not depend on any world. And you listen, even in this. More and more. So we're going to put you on a loop. Exactly. Laughs. It's direct, there's no more sale, there's no more separation, and you'll see it every day. Every day, if I can say, when we have the opportunity to express ourselves orally, you will be hit. You can no longer be fragmented, you can no longer believe that you are this body, this story or this life. It will become stronger and stronger, more and more self-evident. Not only for me, forever, for Bidi, but also for each of you. One other thing. Sister. I notice in the evening from 7 p.m. onwards, there is a tendency to leave in this state. I have trouble staying there. In the evening I am no longer there. What? but this is the case for all of them. The closer the white paradise gets, if you can say, in fact it reveals itself from your heart, the more you will find that you will no longer be able to lead. It has been explained, you experienced it last year and the year 2019, before it revealed, between January and April or February, that there were moments of pre-stasis, except that there is pre-stasis, it occurs even in the activity. Soon you will no longer be able to do business, as has been said. That is what is happening. You start to live the individual white paradise, because it becomes collective. It was said by the commander, it was said by Faham, it was said by Eba. Ultimately, it can be said that my words, my explanations, my answers, my listening to your testimonies, are only there to distract you and allow zero time to work, without your knowledge of your own free will and without your own feelings. That's contamination, and in the groups, you're all carried away to the truth, not really because I'm here, I'm talking or OMA's talking or Eba, but because you are simply available. And because indeed, in any assembly now, you have countless brothers, I don't know the percentage, no matter what, but you have other brothers and sisters who are going through the same thing. So there is an agape resonance effect in a network, which is set up between you, without making gestures and without pronouncing Eba or agape or fame, which is done alone, even in delayed, by listening in delayed. Before, you fell asleep instantly. Even if it continues today, time zero is revealed in you. That's what I was saying for those who don't feel anything to date, and at this moment of agape, it can't fail. Do not be in a hurry, as Eba says, the feeling is something, certainly exciting, certainly reassuring, but the important thing is afterwards, in the days that follow, even if many love it during the meeting. No one can escape the truth. Who would want to escape it? Who would want to escape it? That's impossible. One more question. Voice. A question comes on foot, sister. Hello Bidi, it's not a question, it was just a small testimony. Your words make me happy, my heart sparkles, I want to dance, sing, and take, and celebrate. Thank you. But yes, thank you to you. But actually dancing and singing today is even more powerful than I can say. So don't hesitate to dance, sing and party. Agape is a celebration, and as soon as you celebrate, like children, for no reason, you are spontaneous. Whether you dance, sing, do karaoke, whatever, they are only pretexts to make you live the truth and freedom, to find yourself. All the moments of joy that you create, I am not talking about naked joy, but all the moments of joy that you create, dancing, singing, exchanging, hugging you, will be even more effective than anything I can say or whatever can say. As Eba told you, we are only accompanying the freedom and truth you are living. There is no more teaching, no more stories, you just need to play, be children, dance and sing. You will live it on the occasion of every moment of freedom you allow yourself, whether in nature, by meeting a sister or brother, by meeting them, by going on a boat, because it puts you in the present instant. When you play, you dance, you sing, for example, you are not in your problems of the day before, nor in the problems of tomorrow, you are totally inserted in the present instant, and that is enough to live the truth and freedom. One more question. Voice. We have no more questions. Do we have time or not? Neither. No, either. So I wish you a happy feast, good laughter, beautiful dances, beautiful hugs, beautiful laughter and beautiful tears. As some would say, enjoy. Laughs. Bidi greets you, Bidi says to you always in you, at your disposal, and especially enjoy. See you soon, as the commander would say. Thank you Bidi, thank you Bidi. Through Jean Luc Young-less Transformations. English translation, LMF.